What's up everyone, Corey here, aka M3 Black Shadow. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a little bit since I posted a video. Back when I was installing my clutch on the E39 M5, I also did a coolant flush and I also installed the intake air temperature relocation kit by Turner Motorsport. But just for the sake of keeping those videos a little bit shorter, I decided not to include them. So I didn't film an intro for that video, and here's the intro. We're gonna go ahead and install the intake air temperature sensor. We're gonna go back to when I had the car in pieces and I was installing the clutch. So here we go. I just got this really awesome IAT relocation harness from Turner Motorsport. Essentially what it does is, in the stock setup, the temperature sensor for the intake is actually built into the mass airflow sensor right here. And the problem is it gets very, very hot under here, obviously, because it's the engine. And especially when you're sitting and you're in hot weather, this gets very hot and it reads hotter temperature than it actually is outside. And therefore it slows down your timing and you lose horsepower. It's called heat soak. So what you do is you take this sensor. It's really, really simple to install. You take this, all right, it basically splits. So you take one of them and you basically install it. Come on. You install it right here, and then you take this and you install it into that. And then you take it comes with a temperature sensor, and you just put a small hole at the bottom of the airbox and you relocate it down to inside of the airbox. So apparently it makes a pretty decent difference in horsepower once the car is heated up. And yeah, so we're gonna install that, then we're gonna drain the coolant. Never done the coolant before, so I'm sure it's gonna be dirty, and I haven't done it, so it's gonna be like a little bit of figuring it out. But let's get started. I'm really eager to get this car up and running again. All right, so I actually wanna remove this sensor here and get it all cleaned up, because it's really important to keep these mass airflow sensors clean. And for the longest time, I was trying to figure out how to get this off, and it turns out it's actually a 5-star security Torx. Look at that. I didn't even know those things existed. So I was trying with a 6-star, and I thought maybe, the hole wasn't big enough or something. But thanks to the M5 Facebook group, saved my butt again. I'm just gonna pop this off. And once we get this off, we have airflow sensor cleaner. We're just gonna clean it up. And this is completely unnecessary to do for the relocation kit, but I've been wanting to clean these up and just make sure that they're in good condition since I got the car. You gotta be careful because these things are really expensive. So this thing actually looks super clean. You can see, looks really clean. Basically looks like new. So I have mass airflow sensor cleaner. All right, and all I'm gonna do is just clean it up. Take it and put it back. That's it. All right, now to drill the proper size hole, we're gonna wanna remove this airbox, which there's a bolt right here. There's a hose clamp down here, but it's like a ring, one of those ringworm clamps with a flathead. You just unscrew it, and I think if you unbolt that and take that off, that should do the trick. 10mm. You can see this little clamp. That's it. Easy peasy. Now I'm gonna take this and put it right back in here, just so I don't forget about it. All right, so this is the date on here. Pretty interesting. February 2003. lines up with the car when the car was made, so you know that's original. I don't want to like drill into that, but this is also like the perfect location, so maybe I'll drill a hole like right here or maybe like right here. So I actually decided instead of putting it over here, I'm gonna put it right here because that will put the sensor like that, which is directly in the line of air coming out. I mean, realistically, the air comes through and goes straight up because of the way that the airbox is designed. But the diagram that Turner provides says to put it like somewhere over here. So usually you want to follow those instructions. All right, we're gonna drill a hole right here. Move to bigger bit. All right. And I need a little bit bigger bit, which I don't know if I have. So I'm just gonna make the hole a little bit bigger. Yep, I think we got it. Let's see here. Oh. I have an idea. All right, let's try this. There we go. Beautiful. So now there's a washer that goes on the inside, and then there's another nut that goes on the inside, and I think I'm missing that nut. All right, so I just ran to Home Depot and I grabbed this nylon washer. This way I know it's not gonna rust, and I was able to kind of force it on a little bit and get it tight just because the way the threads are, I think it's really designed for like a really low profile, like thin nut. And I'm gonna try and get a hold of the actual nut, and then I'll just be able to swap it out when I actually get a hold of it. But other than that, this thing is good to go. So we're just gonna throw it back in the car, hook it up, and put everything back together, and that's it, we can move on. All right, so all done. You can see the main connector is here. Gotta love that there's like a Mercedes logo on here. Not sure what that's about. Anyway, this thing goes around and connects underneath. Here, I basically fed this plastic like wiring harness through this gap on the other side. There's a clip underneath. That way it would stay in place and won't like drop down into like where the alternator area is. And then the wire goes all the way around the airbox underneath and is connected down behind the headlight housing. So we are all good for now. At some point, if I get that new washer, I will just quickly take this stuff off and replace the washer and put it back. Super easy. All done here. Let's move on to the coolant. All right, now I'm on the passenger side, and we're gonna actually remove this airbox to take care of the coolant, simply because I'm gonna try and drain the coolant from the bottom radiator hose. And in order to get to it, I just wanna move this out of the way. You can see right in there, right here, there's another hose. Connects right there. Not really sure if that's just like a way for additional air to get in, but look at how dirty that is. So we're gonna clean that out while we're in there. So if this is anything like my E46, you'll see right down here, this is the lower radiator hose. So this is just the temperature sensor right here. So it literally just unplugs like that, super easy. And then there's just a little tabs on either side, and when you, yep, there you go, see? You start to pull it out, the temperature sensor, and then coolant starts pouring out. So that's step one. So I removed the expansion tank cap, and you can see it's draining out underneath. It's pretty difficult to avoid a big mess. And then if I squeeze this hose, you can see more comes out. So we're gonna just try and get as much out this way as possible. All right, slowing down there. So now what we're gonna do, there's a little bolt on either side of the engine block. I think it's below the headers. Yeah, I can see it from here. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. Right there, that bolt. So we're gonna pull that out, and there's one on the other side. Remember, it's a V8, so that should remove a lot more coolant. This is the part where you get wet, and there's really nothing you can do about it. So we got the bolt right there. So I'm just gonna use a couple of extensions here. Might even be able to just get away with one extension. So I'm actually gonna remove this guy, and it's a 13 millimeter. And then I have a U-joint. I need two hands here to work on it. All right, so I was able to get it loose, just use the U-joint, and I was able to get it on there enough. And now I'm just gonna loosen it by hand. You wanna take this approach similar to how you would approach doing an oil change, where you kind of remove the bolt by hand and you're careful and you try and get out from underneath it, but it's gonna be pretty difficult to avoid getting soaked. Oh man. Getting wet. All right, I gotta run. I'm getting so wet. Oh, I'm soaked. All right, the driver's side was way more difficult. I needed to use a breaker bar. There's a heat shield in the way, but if you come a little bit wider angle, there's a way you can get around it. So you just gotta kind of play around with it. There was a lot less coolant on that side. I think most of it drained out from the other side and from the expansion tank and the hoses. So I'm gonna go ahead and bolt this back up. And once that's over, I'm gonna put the temperature sensor back and connect everything back together. And then we will add coolant. So I just put the first bit of coolant in here. And what's interesting is on my M3, there's actually a little bleeder valve right here. And you unscrew the bleeder valve and you let air come out. But there is none on here. And I really wasn't sure what you're supposed to do. I figured maybe you just like run the car or whatever, but I heard like a hissing noise as I was pouring it. And I think that this has like a built-in bleeder system, which is pretty interesting. So it's way down here right now. And I just filled about half this tub with coolant. It's a 50-50 dilution. Basically, the coolant that BMW provides is basically undiluted. It's concentrated, so you need to mix it with distilled water. I personally would get BMW OEM coolant, or I know that there's a company called Rova, and you can use this stuff too because it's designed specifically for BMWs. You want to use the blue coolant. So I get a little weary going to AutoZone and grabbing stuff. I prefer to get stuff online. FCP Euro, ECS Tuning, Turner Motorsport, all those sites sell all this stuff, and I would go with any of those over AutoZone. So I got my 50-50 mix right here. Put the funnel right there, and we pour. Here, listen. I don't know if you can hear that. You hear the hissing? You can hear it, and you can also see it going down. All right, I think we're good. All right, all done with the coolant. Just got to put the air box back, and then we're all finished. All right, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like the content. Follow me on Instagram, M3BlackShadow, and I'll see you next time.